Yastyaktvā rūpamādyam prabhavati jagatah anekadha anugrahaya prakshina klesha rashihi vishama vishadharaha aneka vaktra subhogi sarvajnana prasutihi bhojaga parikaraha pritaye yasya nityam devo hishaha savo vyat sita vimalatanuho yogado yogayuktaha yogena chittasya padena vacham malam sharirasya cha vaidyakena yopakarotam pravaram muninam Patanjalim pranjaliranatosmi Abahu purushakaram Shankhachakrasidharinam Sahasrashirasam Shvetam Pranamami Patanjalim Shrimate Anantaya Nagarajaya Namo Namaha Patanjala Mahabhashya Charaka Pratisamskritaihi Manovakaya Doshanam Hartre Ahipataye Namaha Bhashyakrit Sutrakrit Chapi Nirmalantam Surupinam Dhyataram Shripatir Nityam Patanjalim Namamyaham Om Tasya Saptadha Pranta Bhumihi Prajna. So in this week we are in the Sutra number 227. Tasya Saptadha Pranta Bhumihi Prajna. In the last week we saw the Sutra 226 where Patanjali is presenting how we are reaching the goal that we want, which is Kaivalyam, and the tool that he is talking about is what is called Viveka Khyatihi Aviplava Hanopayaha. He talks about a very discriminative knowledge that is called Viveka, which is basically the capacity to exist with the awareness of the difference between what is called Purusha and Prakriti, what is called the very subtle mind and the consciousness. And it's not just intellectual awareness, but it is existing in that particular state. Now, Patanjali is saying, well, this is very fascinating, that you need to have Viveka in order to reach Kaivalyam, the goal, which is liberation or freedom from suffering. But in Sutra number 227, he is saying that this is not going to be so easy because it's going to take some time and some effort. That's why he presents the sutra, Tasya saptadha pranta bhumihi prajna. Tasya vivekasya saptadha pranta bhumihi prajna. Of this viveka, of this knowledge that we are seeking, there is actually 7 different levels that we have to cross. The 7th degree is when we will have this highest viveka khyatihi, the discriminative knowledge, so that we actually are liberated. Because there are many levels of knowledge that we have in the path of our spiritual freedom. There are 2 different views or interpretations about what these 7 different stages of knowledge that we have to go through in order to finally come and arrive at this state of Viveka. We'll take Mr. Vyasa's view. Vyasa, Veda Vyasa, is one of the first commentators of the Yoga Sutra. When he talks about the sutras, he writes the commentary that is very commonly known as Vyasa Bhashya. And in the Vyasa Bhashya, in this sutra, he is talking about this process of 7 stages. And he says even this 7th stage is divided into first 4 stages and then 3 stages. The first 4 stages, he calls it as Karya Vimukti Jnana. And the next 3 stages he calls as Chitta Nivritti Jnana. Karya Vimukti Jnana. It's a very fascinating concept. In the yoga school, Sankhya school, and also in Vyasa's Vedanta school, all our actions are influenced by a principle called karma. All our activities are influenced by a principle that is called karma, which is another synonym for karya. Now, karma is a very difficult concept to translate in one word in English. It's almost like a combined force that is leading us a certain way. Sometimes we used to use the word called destiny or direction in life, things like that. So, karma is something that we are inheriting from our ancestors as well as from our past experiences in our life. And this karma, the destiny, is moving us a certain way. Why somebody is being a scientist, why somebody is being an artist, why somebody is a philosopher, why somebody is born in this country, or somebody is doing a certain thing, finding a particular partner, finding no partner, finding multiple partners and things like that, is because there is a karma that is driving. We use another word, Yajnavalkya use another word, it is called pravritti. There is a momentum that we are getting from the past, and it is pushing us in a certain way, because this karma is creating a concept called the manifestation of a complex guna dynamic. Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, the 3 gunas, they form a complex dynamic which gives a certain power. If Rajas is dominant and Sattva and Tamas are weaker, it will move us in the Rajasic direction. If Tamas is dominant and Rajas and Sattva are weak, it will move us in the Tamasic direction. If Sattva is dominant and Rajas and Tamas are weak, it will move us in a Sattvic direction. So, the concept of karma is what we are inheriting from our past experiences as well as from our ancestors, and for those who believe, also past lives. And all this is determining our momentum in which we are conducting our life. That is what is called Karya Vritti. We are moving a certain direction, karmic vrittis. We all think that we are in control of our life. What Yogasutra says, what Sankhya philosophy says, what Vedanta is saying, is that we are not really fully in control. Karma is controlling us. Whether we recognize it or not, the karma of our ancestors is controlling us. So, what Patanjali is saying is, it's because of these karmas that we have certain kind of kleshas, which are dominant. Why somebody has more anger, why somebody has more desire, why somebody has more hatred, why somebody has more ego, why somebody has more fear, is all because of this karmic constitution that dominates us, that is pushing us a certain way. That's why no two people respond to the same experience the same way. Even if the experience is the same, because of our karma baggage, we have certain gunas that are more dominant than others. We have certain emotions that are more dominant than others. That's why we react differently to even the same experience. Even the same experience. What 2 minutes means for German is very different from what 2 minutes means for Indian person. We react the same, we don't react the same way, we react completely differently. So, that's because our makeup is very different. Karmic makeup is very different. It's not genetic makeup, it's more karmic makeup. And that's why we get trapped in suffering. Because we are trapped by this energy and we are repeating our mistakes again and again. We are falling in the same trap without realizing it, because the karmic energy is moving us in a certain way. The pravritti is moving us in a certain way. Karya pravritti. So Vyasa says the first 4 stages of knowledge is removing of this karmic influence, and that is why the first 4 stages of knowledge is Heyam, Hetu, Hanam and Upayam. He says through this Vyuha model that Patanjali is talking about, we have to first of all identify what is our symptoms of suffering. Without knowing our symptoms of suffering, we cannot look for treatment or we cannot look for freedom from that suffering. If you don't know what you are suffering from, why do you want to go to a doctor? Why do you want to go for a healer to get treatment? The same way, if you don't know what you are suffering from, why do you want to look for freedom from that suffering? So the first knowledge that Vyasa says, the first level knowledge, is the recognition and acceptance of the symptoms. It's part of the problem I see with many people who come for therapy. They don't know what their problem is. And sometimes you reveal to them what the problems. They say, no sir, I don't have this problem, I am fine. But they have the problem, the body is showing that they have the problems. But they don't want to acknowledge. That's why Vyasa says, Parignatam heyam dukkham is the first level of knowledge, where we are having the knowledge and acceptance of the knowledge of the fact that we have certain set of suffering. If you don't know that you are suffering, it's impossible to find a solution for that. Part of the challenge why we don't recognize our suffering is because we get used to that suffering or get used to certain things. I go to Kanchipuram last week, and we are stuck in the traffic because there is a market in this place. And in this market, there is a very strong smell that is coming. There is the smell of very strong flowers, because there are so many flowers in the market, and we are smelling and we are enjoying it. But the people who are selling the flowers, they've gotten used to that flower smell. They don't even smell the flower smell. So for them, they don't recognize that there is something which is a very strong smell. Now this is a positive vasana, it's a positive thing that we also don't recognize because we take it for granted sometimes what positives we have, so we don't even acknowledge the positive. The same way there is negative. Just near the flower stand is a very big set of market that is selling fish. And there is very strong smell of fish. The person who is selling the fish, they cannot recognize the smell of the fish. The others can, but they not, because they got used to the smell of the fish. That's the same when we get used to something, that if we make it part of our life, whether we accept it or reject it, whether we suffer from it or not suffer from it, for us, we think that it is okay, we don't have that problem. So that's why Vyasa says the first knowledge is parignatam heyam dukkham. We have to recognize and acknowledge that yes, I have some difficulties. I have some dukkham. The second knowledge is to identify the cause of this dukkham, hetu. In yoga philosophy and Sankhya philosophy, nothing is by accident. You are not just randomly suffering from something. There is always a cause. If you don't want to use the word cause, you can say there is an origin or a contributing factor for that suffering. Many people come with sickness and say, I don't know what I did wrong, sir, but I am suffering from diabetes. So we ask, how many sweets you eat every day? Oh, I only eat about 10 laddus per day, sir. No wonder they have problem. Smoking, I don't smoke so much, sir. I only smoke 20 cigarettes per day. But I don't know why I get cancer, why I get skin problem, why my pitta is so aggravated. Because smoking aggravates pitta. Skin problems will come, lung problems will come. But people say, no, I don't smoke much, sir, only 20 cigarettes per day. There's always a cause for our suffering. There is no suffering that is without a cause. Whether you see the cause immediately or not, that is different. The cause may be something that comes long ago. That's why the karmic cause may also be there. Maybe somebody in your ancestor did some mistake that you are suffering from. Maybe they didn't suffer, but you are suffering from. In Ayurveda, there is a very famous quote. Purva janma kritam papam vyadhi rupena badhyate. The sins that you have committed in your previous generation, previous life, it's manifesting as diseases in your life. So for those who believe in the concept of past lives, if you did some mistake in your past lives, it will affect you with disease in the present life. For those who don't believe in past life but believe in past generations, which is our ancestors, your ancestors make some mistakes, you will suffer from it. Which automatically brings us to the next question. If you make some mistakes, your offspring will suffer from it. So there is always a cause. There is no problem without a cause, no dukkha without a cause. That's why Vyasa says the second level of knowledge is to find out what is the cause of this dukkham. Now dukkham is not only small dukkham, the high dukkham, the most important dukkham is also we have to consider. Then most importantly, we need to know our destination. Where do you want to go? Many people know what they don't want, but they don't know what they want. I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this. What do you want? I don't know. So Vyasa says, it's not enough if you say, I don't want freedom from suffering, I don't want to have suffering, I want freedom from suffering. You also need to know, what will you do when you are not suffering? Because you are not born in this world just to do nothing. You have a destiny, you have a potential. You have to know where you have to go. A tomato plant is not fulfilling its destiny just because it doesn't have any disease and doesn't give any tomatoes. If it's not giving tomatoes, it says, I don't want to give tomatoes, I want to give mangoes. But I don't have disease, but I want to give mangoes. It's not possible to fulfill its destiny. So what Vyasa says is, we need to know where we want to go. Because each of us, we have what is called a swadharma. a duty or responsibility, a potential, an innate nature that we need to express. Knowing that is very, very important. That is the third knowledge that he talks about, to find out what is our life purpose. Then he says, you have to find the tools and implement the tools to achieve that purpose. That is what is called upayam. To find the tools, achieve that purpose. Once you have achieved that purpose, then you have completed your cycle of this karma. That's why you are born in this world, because you have to fulfill a particular purpose. Then you will get freedom. You cannot expect freedom without fulfilling your karmic duties. This is part of the major problem with modern era. So many people, not only in India but also from the West, they want to escape from life, escape from karma, but want freedom. Patanjali school says you cannot have that freedom until you fulfill your karmic duties and you have made the bank balance zero. Because until you have fulfilled the karmic duty, you have some debt. You cannot have freedom with debt. It's like, many people, they take student loan to study university degree, get university degree in various things. Or they borrow money from the bank to buy a house, to buy a car. The bank will not let you go free until you pay back. Sometimes if you don't pay back, your children will have to pay back. Whoever is guarantee next has to pay back. That is what is called karmic duty. You don't pay for the house, 10 crores you borrow, you don't pay, you die or you run away. If your child is there, they will have to start paying it. So just like that debt is transferred from one generation to the other, there is this phenomena of karmic duty that is also passed on. And unfortunately, karma is not American. You cannot declare bankruptcy and start your life again. No. Karma is not, you cannot bankrupt karma and say, sorry, I want to declare bankruptcy and I want to start my life again, please give me a chance. Vedic philosophy says you have to fulfill the karma, then only you are free. You cannot be free until this is finished. That's why the upayam, the means have to be done. Then you put the means into practice so that you reduce the suffering slowly and slowly and slowly and finish the karmic duties. By this time, we will have spent most of our life. And it is normal. Once this is done, then Patanjali, Vyasa says, we start to go into this internal liberation. That is what is called the Chitta Nivritti Jnanam. And he says the fifth step is where the Chitta is letting go of its adhikara. The mind is withdrawing itself from wanting to be. The mind says, I have fulfilled my duties, so I don't need any more to exist because I have done my job. It's almost like you are hiring a contractor to build a house. The contractor is building the house. At the end of it, he says, I have fulfilled my duty. Namaste. I will go to the next contract. You don't need the contractor to stay with you once you have built the house. The same way, once the dharma has been accomplished, mind is only a medium. Mind means mind, senses, etc., body, etc., all that is prakriti is only a medium, and it says, I want to cease to exist and I want to withdraw from these duties because I have done and achieved these karmic responsibilities. The mind makes the decisions from Prakriti's, consciousness is making the decision. Mind, you have done your job, you can liberate yourself. It's not so simple because the gunas are still trying to influence. So what Vyasa is saying, the consciousness slowly tips off the gunas as if a stone is being tipped off from a cliff. Now, what happens when you tip off a stone from the cliff? It falls down. It's only dropping. It cannot go back up. So same way, consciousness tells the Prakriti, hey, you have done your job, please go. It's one way. It's not coming back. So it tells the gunas, hey gunas, your job is done, please go. So the stone starts rolling downward. That is the sixth stage. The gunas start withdrawing their influence. It's a very high state. Then what happens? The stone drops and remains down. It cannot come up. It is finished. The same way, the gunas, when they have withdrawn, finally it comes to that state where it is completely withdrawn, what Patanjali calls in the last sutra, Guna Pratiprasava. The gunas become impotent. They are no more able to function. They are impotent. They don't have the capacity to function. That state is Kaivalyam. That's what Patanjali defines. That is the seventh stage where the consciousness realizes that it is free from even the influence of the gunas. It is completely free. There's a lot of discussion in the traditional yoga commentators whether this state is actually possible with the human body or without the human body. Because many people, they believe that as long as the human body is existing, the concept of gunas will always be dominant, and it's impossible to liberate oneself from the gunas. Whereas certain school of people say, no, Patanjali is talking about facts. And they say it's possible that we are transcending the gunas even while having the human body. That's what they call as Jeevan Muktas. They are free even when they are alive. Whereas the other school that is saying that this happens at the time of death, they call themselves Videha Kaivalyas. Videha Kaivalya means people who believe that Kaivalyam is possible when the separation between body and matter and consciousness happens. So this is another school, and that's a completely different discussion. But these are the 7 stages that is presented according to Vyasa. At the same time, in a text called Yoga Vasishta, one of the earliest texts of yoga as well, Vasishta gives another view of what are these 7 stages of knowledge that we have. The first thing Vasishta says is Shubha Ichcha. When we want to engage in the path towards liberation, the first thing we have to have is a good intention. A good intention. And this is very significant because what Vasishta is saying is you must not pursue freedom because you don't want to suffer. You have to pursue freedom because you want freedom. You want to liberate yourself. You want to fulfill. You have to go with a positive intention. I always give this metaphor to understand it more easily. For example, let's say you are playing a game, a sport. Now, you must not play not to lose. Shubha Ichcha is you must play to win. You must not play not to lose. This is very important. That's what is called Shubha Ichcha. When we start in the spiritual process, we must not start the process because we are suffering, we want to avoid suffering. That's escaping. It's not actually a reality. So you have to have the good intention Shubha Icha. Then that will lead to the second step, that is called Vicharana. Vicharana is kind of self-inquiry or introspection or doing some kind of research, not in the modern scientific way, but to pursue this question, what is it that I am seeking? What is it that I want? Where is it that I want to reach? What is my potential? So that is what is called Vicharana. You are inquiring. And this process is an internal one, it's not an external one. Vitarka is external, gross. Vichara is more subtle. So you are going more into what is it that you want, not what is it that you don't want from others. Many times you go to temple, you hear people praying, I don't want my neighbors to be a problem, I don't want this to be a problem, I don't want that person to be a problem. We never ask what we want. You're not, that's the clarity that Vasishta is asking us to have. Then he says the third jnana is what is called Tanumanasa. We have to make the role of the mind more and more less. Tanumanasa. We have to make the role of the mind less and less. This is because of multiple reasons. The first reason is what Vyasa also talked about. The mind has its own karma and its own, because of the karma, it has its own tendencies. Its own tendencies. So one mind is drawn one way, another mind is drawing another way. So we are all pulled in different direction because mind is pulling us in a certain way. And we have to train that mind so that it is not pulling us in the way it wants us to go, but rather we are asking the mind to follow the direction we want it to go. Again, I always talk about this story with my dog called Tulsi. We used to walk with him, my father and I, every morning, and very early in the morning, because Tulsi was waking us up very early. And so we are walking and we are slowly waking up when we are taking him. He takes us wherever he wants us to go. Now, sometimes this is not necessarily very clean place because dogs like to smell other dogs' leftovers. So all this wakes up, disturbs us, then we start to tell the dog, hey, I don't want you to go here, go here. So slowly the dog starts to follow where we want it to go, not where it wants to go. The same way, mind and senses pull us in different direction, and that has to be reduced. That influence has to be reduced. And the more and more we reduce, what Vasishta is saying is, that is, we have to reduce the influence of Rajas and Tamas. So more and more we reduce that, it leads us to the next level, that is called Sattvapatti. We are connected more and more with the sattvic nature, which is in the heart. And that's why this is very, very important, that yoga is not a mental process. It is a process of engaging with the heart. And this is the problem in translation, because and also paradigm, because in modern science, modern cultures, the word mind is often associated with brain, but yoga does not associate chitta with the brain. It is associating itself with the heart. See, in the Yogasutra of Patanjali, Hridaye Chitta Samvit. We talk about the heart. The concept of mind is in the heart. So we are not talking about the ego mind, we are talking about the mind that is in the heart. So Vasishta says the fourth stage is when we are allowing the sattva to dominate in our heart. Means good intentions, quiet place, not an agitated place. We cannot pursue yoga through agitation. And it's a problem today, because many yogis today, they are very agitated when they pursue yoga, and because of pursuing wrong yoga, they become even more agitated and aggressive. Yoga is a very aggressive business today. That's why so many yogis are always angry and agitated. And if you just see their Facebook, they are fighting with each other, criticizing each other, wanting to tear down each other because they think they know everything. The more they talk, the less they know. Because Patanjali also says in the Yogasutra, the one who knows will not speak, the one who speaks will not know. So they talk and complain and criticize about this and that. That is not Sattva in the heart, that is Rajas and Tamas in the ego. The more the Sattva is dominant, slowly it will lead us to the fifth state, Asamsakti. Samsakti means a form of attachment. We are all attached to things. We are attached to places. We are attached to people. We are attached to belief system. We are attached to ideas. That will not lead us in the spiritual path. We have to have what is called Asamsakti, a detachment. A detachment. Vairagyam is the word used by Patanjali. You have to be detached, not attached, obsessed. That's another thing which is very common in the yoga field, which is people are very attached to their yoga, attached to their yoga mat, attached to their studio, attached to their ego. So this is a very severe problem, another obstacle, but we have to transcend that. That is what is called Asamsakti, the fifth stage, where we have to slowly get detached. Now, what's the meaning of detachment? Detachment is really not possible independently, because mind as an instrument always needs to have a support to hold on to. That's why it's called grahana, that which is grasping. Mind needs to grasp itself to something for its existence. It cannot lie independently without grasping something. It needs to grasp something. So Vasishta says, Paratha bhavini. Allow the mind to hold on to what is called Paratha. Paratha is another name for the divine. Hold on to the divine. Don't hold on to matter. Material is temporary. People are temporary. Objects are temporary. Hold on to that which is not temporary, that which is permanent, Parartha, that which is of a higher value. Parartha means that which has the highest value. All other things are of low value. What's the use of your ego? It's a low value thing. What's the use of material objects? It's low value. You get attached to your car. A few years later, you have to change the car. It's not going to be the same. So that's what is called Parartha Bhavini. Shift your attention in your heart to hold the divine. That will lead to the last stage, that is called Turia. Because the more you are committed to this concept of the divine, the more you will be liberated from all other things which trap you. All other things are like a trap. You can never say the divine belongs to me. The concept of God is too big to fit into one religion. Other things can fit into boxes, but the divine cannot fit. It transcends time, it transcends space, it transcends belief system. That's why in the Vedic science they say, however you want to see the divine, that way the divine will manifest. You want to see it in a small thing, it will manifest in a small thing. You want to see it grand, it will be grand. It's how your bhavana is, how you want to visualize. For a child, it will come in a very simple form. We have the story of Dhruva, where Dhruva is a young boy, and this young boy is searching for the divine. Divine appears as a young boy, as his friend, as his same age. Arjuna wants to have Vishwaroopa. He wants to see the grandness of the divine. The divine appears in the grand form. So whatever way we visualize, that way the divine will manifest. And then when we do that, we start to see the divine in everything. When we start to see the divine in everything, we disconnect from the material boundaries of everything. So that's why in India we don't say, hey, how are you, Michael or James or Narayana or Vishnu, whatever your name is. We are saying namaste, which means we are saying we are saluting the divine in you. We are not saluting you or your ego. You or your body or your ego, we don't care about that. We are only interested in the divine in you. And the same, the person returns namaste. They don't care about our body, our ego, our status in life. They are saying, I bow to that God in you. So that's why the concept of Turia is only possible when we liberate ourselves from the trap of all the ego structures. Things like name is an ego structure. A gender is an ego structure. A nationality is an ego structure. A job is an ego structure. Relationship is an ego structure. How can we say this is my child, this is your child? God is laughing and saying, you are all my children. We say this is my house, this is your house. Who decided that? Somebody draw a line, so this is your house, this is my house. God says all land belongs to me, not you. So we get trapped in the ego structures. We have to liberate ourselves from that. That's why the language is very important. The language will change. When we say I am doing this, I want that, we are still keeping ourselves as the subject. We have to transcend that. We have to transcend that. That's why the concept of liberation, Patanjali does not say you will be liberated. Patanjali does not say I will be liberated. Patanjali just says this is liberation. Kaivalyam is a state. It's not for one or another. It's a state, because the moment you say I am liberated, you are not liberated because you are still having the concept of I am liberated. The ego is saying you are. So that's why this concept is very, very important. Asamsakti, the vairagyam, the detachment. And the detachment has to lead to the connection to the divine. And sometimes they are, mutually influencing. The more we attach to the divine, the more vairagyam we have. Sometimes the more vairagyam we have, the more we are attached to the divine. Then slowly we come to this state called Turia Avastha, which is the ultimate state of liberation. That is what Patanjali calls as Kaivalyam. Vasishta calls as Turia. This concept of the 7 knowledge levels is presented in Yoga Vasishta, which is a conversation between Rama and his teacher Vasishta. And if you read this text, it's so fascinating because you will see that it is the first text in the world that is documenting a psychological counseling session. Rama gets depressed, therefore goes to Vasishta, and there is a conversation. Many people think that psychology is invented by the West. That's again another illusion. Vasishta has been counseling Rama a long time ago, and it is documented as the first text, where if you read it, you will see how to do counseling is beautifully laid out in the way these two people are talking. Now these ideas are 2 ideas that I have shared with you, what is called the Vyasa Bhashya's view on what is the 7 levels and Vasishta's point of view. But there are many other indications that talk about these 7 bhumis, 7 layers. In Vedic science, we talk about what is called Sapta bhumis. We are saying there are 7 worlds above, 7 worlds below. It's metaphor for the 7 levels of knowledge. When we recite the Vyahriti mantras, Om Bhoho, Om Bhuvaha, Om Suvaha, Om Mahaha, Om Janaha, Om Tapaha, Om Satyam. We say that God created these 7 worlds. Now, the 7 worlds is these 7 structures of knowledge. When you are basically moving from one clarity to another, you have actually transcended from one level to another. From that you go to the next level of clarity, you are transcending to another level. So that is the concept that is presented, and the same idea with the concept of the 7 chakras, because the Vyahriti mantras are also associated with the 7 chakras, Sapta Rishis, the 7 sages. So this concept comes many times. If you look at many temples, they have what is called Sapta Prakara, 7 structures of walls that are around the sanctum. Again, it's talking about 7 different worlds. All these are metaphors of the same concept that Patanjali has talked about here in this sutra. Tasya saptadha pranta bhumihi prajna. Namaste, friends.